Hi, my name's Victoria MacKenzie, and this is my debut novel, For Thy Great Pain, Have Mercy on My Little Pain. It tells the story of two real medieval women, Julian of Norwich and Margery Kemp. When I first started thinking about writing the novel, it was Julian of Norwich who interested me. I knew that she had been an anchoress, which is someone who lives in a single room, dedicating their life to prayer and contemplation. And we know that Julian lived in one room for over 30 years. As a novelist, this fascinated me. How could I write a novel set in one room? And how could I get into the mind of someone who had made this decision to give up so much and to live this constrained life? Once I started my research process, I very quickly came across the figure of Margery Kemp. Both women had an enormous amount in common. They both lived in Norfolk in the late 14th, early 15th centuries. They both claimed to have holy visions, and they both wrote the earliest known books in English by women. Julian wrote about her visions in a book called Revelations of Divine Love, which is the first known book in English by a woman. A little later, Margery wrote the Book of Margery Kemp, which is the first autobiography in English by a man or woman. So these are two extraordinary women for the history of women's writing. But as I started to tell their stories, and I structured the book as first-person monologues that are intertwined, and they talk directly to the reader, telling you about their lives. What was also apparent is how different these women were. Julian, as I say, was an anchoress and lived in one room, and she was very contemplative and calm. Whereas Margery's book, she is a mess. She's boastful. She feels very modern in some ways. She's very concerned with her place in society, with fashion, with what other people think of her. She's kind of a great oversharer. So I really enjoyed intertwining these two very different women's lives and their different personalities. And as I was doing my research, I discovered to my great joy that these women had actually met, that Margery had visited Norwich and gone to Julian's cell to ask advice about her holy visions. And at this point, I realised that would be the climax of my novel. We don't know what Julian advised her. All that we know is what Margery wrote in her book, which is that she received wise counsel from Julian. So as a novelist, it was a great joy to imagine what kind of advice Julian gave to her. These are extraordinary women, and I really hope that they become better known as a result of people discovering them for the first time through my novel, perhaps even then going and reading their own books, Revelations of Divine Love by Julian of Norwich and the Book of Margery Kemp by Margery Kemp. I very much hope that you enjoy reading my book. Thank you very much indeed.